Norman Lear was the first person that got me. I mean, I was playing jacks with his daughter. Norman says to my dad, you know, this kid is really funny. My dad said, what, that kid? That kid, he's a sullen. He sits quiet. He doesn't, you know, he's not funny.
For more than 40 years, Rob Reiner carefully avoided one question. Whenever interviews turned to All in the Family, he praised his fearless writing and cultural impact, but always stopped short of naming the one man everyone wanted him to explain. That man was Carroll O'Connor. The silence only fueled rumors. Fans believed the hatred on screen was real, that resentment followed them when the cameras stopped. Some were convinced there was one man Reiner despised more than anyone else. But just before he passed, Rob Reiner finally broke that silence, and what he revealed wasn't about hatred at all. It was about fear, truth, and a secret so powerful it completely changes how we see All in the Family forever. On television, Archie Bunker and Michael "Meathead" Stivic were locked in constant war. Their arguments were not just comedy, they were reflections of America's deepest cultural fractures exploding inside a modest living room week after week. Race, class, politics, masculinity, and morality collided loudly, unapologetically, and relentlessly. Millions watched them scream at each other, laugh at each other, and despise each other. But off-screen, the reality was far more complicated, far quieter, and far more meaningful than anyone realized at the time. When Rob Reiner joined All in the Family in 1971, he understood immediately that this was not a comfortable sitcom set. This was a pressure chamber. The show was not designed for friendliness or ease. It was engineered to provoke discomfort. Reiner's character, Michael Stivic, was not simply Archie's son-in-law. He was written as a direct challenge to Archie's worldview. Every line Mike spoke was meant to corner Archie, to expose his logic, and to force the audience to confront what Archie represented. This was ideological warfare disguised as comedy. By the time Reiner arrived, Carroll O'Connor was already fighting a private battle behind the scenes. He clashed relentlessly with creator Norman Lear over scripts, tone, and intent. O'Connor believed Archie was one of the most dangerous characters ever placed on television. If Archie became funny without consequence, if audiences laughed with him instead of at him, the character could turn into a symbol of validation rather than exposure. That fear guided everything O'Connor did. The tension did not stay behind closed doors. It followed him onto the set, and Reiner walked straight into it. O'Connor did not offer Reiner warmth. Instead, he tested him. During rehearsals, O'Connor altered timing, stretched silences, and delivered lines with sudden intensity, forcing Reiner to react honestly. The on-screen fights felt real because O'Connor made them real, leaving Reiner unsure where performance ended and anger stopped. Their most important moment came quietly. After rehearsal, O'Connor said, "If you don't believe what you're saying, the audience will know." He wasn't demanding obedience, he demanded truth. By season 8 of All in the Family, clashes between Archie Bunker and Michael "Meathead" Stivic had grown familiar. Even Rob Reiner admitted the arguments continued out of expectation, no longer revealing anything new. Then came an episode titled "Two's a Crowd," and everything shifted. On the surface, it was a simple setup. Archie and Mike are accidentally locked overnight inside the storeroom of Archie's bar. A bottle of liquor appears. The hours stretch on. The episode was designed as a practical, cost-saving solution, driven almost entirely by dialogue rather than action. But what happened inside that small room went far beyond the script. Carroll O'Connor had been quietly preparing for this moment. For years, he had been building Archie's inner life in private, layering fear, loyalty, and inherited belief beneath the anger. He believed exposing that too early would weaken the character. That night in the storeroom gave him the perfect opening, a chance to reveal Archie's truth without turning him into a caricature. During the episode, Mike asks Archie a question that seems ordinary but opens a door that had been locked since the show began. He asks how Archie came to feel the way he does about people. Instead of deflecting, instead of joking, Archie answers honestly for the first time. He speaks about his father with loyalty, not bitterness. He describes physical punishment as discipline, confinement as education, and cruelty as love. He explains that the man who taught him to play ball and held his hand as a child could not have been wrong about the world. In Archie's mind, rejecting his father's beliefs would mean rejecting love itself. If his father believed certain people were dangerous, Archie believed it too. Later, Carol O'Connor explained the meaning of that confession plainly. The poison entered the system and was passed down. This was not an excuse for prejudice. It was a diagnosis. The hatred was inherited, not invented. Rob Reiner understood immediately what was happening. Instead of countering with politics or argument, he changed Mike's behavior. He listened. He allowed silence. When Archie eventually passed out, Mike quietly covered him with a blanket. That moment was not scripted. It was a choice. From that point forward, the conflict between Archie and Mike was no longer about winning arguments. It became about understanding damage. The shouting never disappeared, but its meaning changed. Mike no longer fought Archie as a villain to be defeated. He challenged him as a wounded man, shaped by fear that had been passed down through generations. The comedy remained, but it became human. The audience laughed, but they also recognized something painfully real beneath the noise. When All in the Family ended in 1979, Carol O'Connor walked away carrying Archie with him. The public did not separate the character from the man. Letters flooded in accusing O'Connor of racism. Others praised Archie as a hero. Many believed O'Connor shared Archie's beliefs. Rob Reiner watched this imbalance quietly, knowing the truth but unsure how to correct it. Off camera, O'Connor was reserved, almost shy. He avoided Hollywood parties, preferred books to crowds, and spoke carefully. In interviews, he described Archie as a man who never smiled and never said anything kind, not because he chose bitterness, but because it was passed down like a disease. That understanding reshaped Reiner's work as he transitioned into directing. The influence became visible. Stand By Me explored how childhood trauma silently dictates adulthood. A Few Good Men examined how authority teaches obedience long before morality intervenes. Reiner later acknowledged that O'Connor taught him something essential. You do not lecture the audience into reflection. You let characters reveal themselves, and judgment follows naturally. Despite decades of rumors, Reiner was always clear about their relationship. They did not fight off camera. They shared deep affection for one another. It simply wasn't loud. It wasn't performative. Their bond existed in trust. When Carol O'Connor died in 2001, Reiner chose silence, believing the work spoke for itself. Over time, he realized that silence allowed misunderstanding to survive, and that was something he could no longer accept. Now, at 78, Rob Reiner speaks without nostalgia or defensiveness. He understands what he could not fully grasp back then. Carol O'Connor devoted his life to one of the most dangerous tasks an actor can take on. He embodied hatred so honestly that it could never be mistaken for virtue, even at the cost of being misunderstood by millions. He knew some viewers would cheer Archie instead of questioning him. He knew others would confuse the character with the man. He accepted that burden anyway. He was one of the kindest men I ever met, Reiner said. People thought Archie lived inside him. He didn't. That sentence carries decades of weight. O'Connor absorbed America's ugliness so others wouldn't have to. He carried hatred without becoming it. He endured misunderstanding so the truth could be exposed slowly, honestly, and without compromise. So the question remains, was Carroll O'Connor misunderstood, or was he perfectly understood far too late? Was Archie Bunker a warning that arrived before its time? Leave your answer in the comments. And if this story changed the way you see television history, subscribe for more untold truths behind the most dangerous legends ever created. Thanks for watching.